Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the stream. So, I saw this topic floating around pretty much everywhere in like JJK spaces. And then I saw it on Twitter, and then people were talking about it on Discord. And then I even saw it on Jaded's YouTube channel because he has like a community tab. And at some point, he did like a poll. See if I could find it. Yeah. So he did a poll a day ago. It got 6K votes. See if I can put it up on screen. Let's do it like this. And then I'll put it in another tab. Alright. So here, this is the poll. Who wins? Sukuna 16 fingers in Shibuya or Yuta at the end of the series? And I was surprised to see what the result of this poll was, because it does not match what people are saying in the comments at all. So if you go in the comments, right, everyone is saying that like Sukuna slams, right? And then you check on the poll. Oh, I can't vote on this, but the poll is like 61% in Yuta's favor. So I don't know, it's kind of confusing in a way, because maybe it's like because these people are actually debating it, and these people who just voted are like, they quickly think about it and then they swipe. Maybe that's why. It's also smaller like amount of people in the comments section than the people who voted, of course. But nevertheless, I wanted to give my own thoughts on this topic specifically, because it is, in my opinion, quite interesting, and there are like a lot of like niche things to think about, so I think it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, it's a debate stream. If anyone wants to join me in VC, or they want to debate me, you know, go ahead, you can just join whenever. I'll send you a link to Discord, and then we can just hop in a call or whatever. But yeah, I think the Yuta honestly could take it. So the scenario, well, I might have to like sketch a little scenario on screen so people don't get confused and like start thinking like, wait, why is it like this or like that when it isn't. So I'll just put that up there. And how should I do that? Can I do like text in this? I don't know. You know what? I have a better idea. I can just like open a notepad and then screen record that. I think that'll work. But yeah, I think Yuta has it pretty solidly, honestly. There we go. So yeah, okay. So the scenario is Yuta, the end of the series. Which if we go back and check right here, I believe they said it at some point, or it wasn't said, but it was shown. I think it's before, right here. So here you can see that on the elevator door, it's 4/5, and then it says Friday. And we know that JJK took place in 2018, the main story. and it ended December 25th. So this has to be the next year in 2019, right? So you go and look on like the calendar. You spell that calendar. 2019. I'll just like open this. All right, so it could either be 5-4 or 4-5. If it's 5-4, then it would be the 4th of May, which we see is a Saturday, so it doesn't line up. Then it could be 4-5, which would be the 5th of April. And you look here, boom, Friday, it lines up. So the last page of JJK is 4 months after Shinjuku, because that's when their last mission happens. And this last mission is, I think, either the same day or the last, or like a day after Sumiki is properly cremated. And then in that last day we see what I assume to be now third year students. Or are they third? No, they're not yet third year students. They're still second years, because the Japanese school system, the school year, it's kind of different. So they're still the second year students, but we see them. And this is Yuta, 4 months after Shinjuku. And so he has the stitches on his head still. So what that tells us is that he chose not to heal his head, and instead kept it as maybe like a binding vow, like what Kenjaku had, where he can just now like freely body hop whenever he wants to or needs to, if the situation calls for it. And in exchange, he doesn't have to heal the thing with like RCT. So that's, I assume that's what it is. That's what it means. I also assume that this version of Yuta, now what does it look like this? Hold on, guys. I assume, yeah, that this version of Yuta has copied cursed spirit manipulation, and I'll tell you why. It's because he ate Kenjaku, right? I assume he no longer has clairvoyance, since he had to give Charles his rib back. He still has Shrine, because at the end we see that, where is it? Right here. Yuji is still missing his ring finger. So yeah, he still has Shrine. He has cursed spirit manipulation. He has cursed speech. He has sky manipulation. He has Jacob's ladder. He never gave that back because Hannah's shoulder, I believe, couldn't be healed, so they couldn't attach the arm anymore. So he still has Jacob's ladder. What else would he have at this point? He has a bunch of cursed tools. Let's see. Maybe he should have some more techniques, right? I don't remember what they were though. Let's check back at chapter 249, I think. Yeah, so this is where he eats Kenjaku and he gets the body hop. That's what it was. The brain hop. The body hop, whatever. I'm gonna do it I'm trying to do it in like order that he got it. So brain hop. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Sky manipulation, I already had that. I could not see the notification that I got just now for some weird reason. Why does it not show? Here. Put that above the rest. But yeah, alright, so he has that. And I should actually do this one. Like here-ish? I don't know. Should do it to cover the chat. I don't know what it should cover. Oh, I'll just do it like this. Yeah, so he has a bunch of cursed tools. He has shrine. He has I mean, that's all that he shows, to be honest. Gege wiki just to make sure. Tokyo, where is he? Yuta. Oh right, he has Drew's thing. You got that like right here. It's what is it called again? It's called orbital trajectory or orbital domain. No longer has G War Staff, clairvoyance. Yeah. So we're gonna keep it at that. That's what Yuta has. Then he had. We're gonna move on to Sukuna. So Sukuna is at 15 fingers. At 15 fingers, he has, obviously he has his shrine, he has cleave, dismantle. He does not have the world splitting dismantle or the world cutting slash, whatever you want to call them. Cleave, dismantle, and fire arrow. So he has those three things at his disposal. Now, what's interesting about 15 finger Sukuna is people gave me, I was like debating it already with some people, right? And they gave me this argument where, because 15 finger Sukuna is supposedly 75% of true Sukuna's cursed energy, and true Sukuna had about a maximum capacity of twice Yuta's curse energy, that it means that Sukuna should cliff Yuta in curse energy and thus also should cliff in stats. The thing what they forget when they say stuff like that is that your stats does not equal, or your curse energy does not equal your stats. Because look at Gojo, right? He has better stats than Yuta, but you know, Yuta has more curse energy than Gojo. Yo, what's up, Tiberius? What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome to the stream. What camp are you sitting in right now, Tiberius? Are you on the Yuta wins or are you on the Sukuna wins? I'm too employed for this. Yo, Plank, what's good? I remember all the debates we would have, Plank. That's crazy. Oh yeah. So yeah, Sukuna has Cleave, Dismantle, and Fire Arrow. Sukuna is a Savant of Sorcery. He definitely is. He definitely is. And Yuta has these things copied. So, what else does Yuta have? He has domain expansion, which is, maybe I should be working on like a mind map. Maybe that would be better. Let's see if I could get that working. I don't have Obsidian installed. No, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna install it real quick. Just a quick start. Take this away. Kansas? Was that it? I think it was. Just gotta change my settings real quick, because right now this is a flashbang. It's way too bright. Appearance, dark mode. Perfect. And I just gotta put it up on stream. Display capture. Do it like that. No, not display. Is it display? No, it is not. It is window capture. There we go. Obsidian. I think this might be a little better. Let's see. Oh, let me see what y'all saying in the chat. End of series Yuta has basketball domain still, right? Yes, I think he does. I was gonna get into that in a little bit, but yeah, I do think he still has it. Yuta lacks the speed. Sukuna will treat him badly. Agreed. Sukuna is very much still the fastest. Sukuna is in Yuji's body. It was fun to watch him throw hands. He was more acrobatic in Yuji's body. Yes. And in Megami's body, he showcased his mastery of curse energy. True. Madoka Magica is the greatest piece of fiction ever. Not in Megami's body, he wasn't fighting noobs. He fought Yorozu and Gojo. I guess. But he was toying with Yorozu. See if I can for all of this. Add a card. Let's call it Yuta. We'll call this one Sukuna. this, I just move this to that side. Copy. I might copy paste this. In here. Alright. Perfect. They should have Gojo and Sukuna in ER Night Rain. I have no clue what that is. He fought Maharaga in Yuji's body. The three-finger Sukuna victim. Okay. So I'm gonna do another one. Add card. And then I was wanted to get into a certain topic. And that topic is, does Yuta still have Gojo's body? Because that matters a lot for this fight. And let me show you guys what I mean when I ask this, right? So let's go to, what is it, 270? Right, so this is the, because if I go to 269, 269 is still immediately after the battle. I think it's like the week, that same week. Everyone's talking about like the stuff that it could have done, should have done, blah blah blah. Like it's still so soon after the battle that I think Rika is still in the sky. I'm not sure. This might be the bunker, or it might not. I'm not too sure why they showed this, or maybe that's like what it was. Like, I don't know if this is like now or what it was. Either way, this is like really soon after the battle, right? And then they ended off with like showing how Meimei acquired Kusakabe some rights to become the head of the Simple Domain clan. And then the very next chapter starts off with Sumiki's cremation, right? Like they bury the what is it called? Like an urn where they put her ashes in. So this is what the chapter starts off in, and then Shoko starts blabbing on about how she should have done the same for Geto. And then Megumi gets a call, and that's the start of the mission. So we know that Sumiki gets buried in April 2019, and Shinjuku happened in December 2018. So it's been 4 months. And we see like a flash with like Kamo and his family. They're back in Japan or like Tokyo because they fled the country for the battle. So it's like another indicator that it's been a while. And like here they like stabilized Tengen and stuff like that. Either way, the point that I was trying to make was that it's been a while, right? And there's no indication whatsoever that Gojo was either buried or cremated. We know that sorcerers are usually cremated because otherwise, you know, people might try to make use of the corpses, like what happened to Geto. But yeah, there's no mention of it at all. And then in the epilogue, we find out that Yuta actually became the acting / temporary head of the Gojo clan. So I feel like it would just make more sense if he kept Gojo's body for himself. And the reason why I say that is because it's essentially just a tool now for him to use in his arsenal. Rika can keep the body fresh and make sure that it never starts like decomposing. And he can just hop into it whenever he wants, which is why he still has the stitches on his head. Otherwise, he could just heal it with RCT. You know, so he clearly still has it as an option, right? So I think, in my opinion, that Yuta has Gojo's body still. Technically, Yuta does still have body hop. Yuta could have stayed alive for years. Yeah, I think that just shows where they watched the fight. I see. Okay. Yeah, Yuta does not have Charles's curse technique since he gave the rib back, so that's why I didn't include clairvoyance in here. So yeah, in terms of tools, he has Gojo's body, which has essentially become a tool, right? Another thing is he has like two completely different pairs of gauntlets. One of them being the gauntlets that Yuji wore during the Shinjuku Showdown. But yeah, he has two pairs of gauntlets, and then he has all like those knives and swords. Cannot type. Knives and swords. So this is like pretty much the tools that he has at his disposal. And one of the pairs of gauntlets, I think one of them broke because they broke when Yuji was wearing them. But they did show to be a lot more like durable against Sukuna's slashes. I always looked at Sumiki's funeral as Gege saying no sorcerer gets a funeral. But Sumiki did because she wasn't a sorcerer. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, let's go on to Sukuna's side now. So he has Shrine with Dismantle, Leave, and the Fire Arrow. He can do all of them whenever he wants. Except the Fire Arrow is supposedly so weak that he needs a domain to boost its power. Sukuna did shatter the gauntlets Yuji wore. Yeah, he did, but that was like after a million dismantles. And then furthermore, he is in Yuji's body. Which means better natural physical stats, including durability. This Sukuna is at 15 fingers. He only has 15 minutes. And the reason why he only has 15 minutes is because that's how long he has before Yuji wakes up again. Because that's the downside of being in Yuji's body, is that Yuji can take control again. It's not like Megami where he can just completely take over, right? So Yuta has to either stall him for 15 minutes or just win the fight. That's kind of where it's at. And the series, April 2019. And just extend this a little bit too. Alright. What else can we mention? Their domains, of course. And Yuta also has that. Do you think Sukuna could reincarnate into his Heian form at 15 fingers? I don't think so, and the reason why is because he does not have full control over the body. Even though he's still like, he's like free to do in it what he wants, but he doesn't control it. That makes sense. So yeah, I already see like Tiber is saying that Yuta would have to win inside a domain clash for 3 minutes, and I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that because I actually have a pretty different take on that specifically, but we're gonna get to it. So his domain is Malevolent Shrine. It's open barrier. And what else can we say about this? It's open barrier, max range 200 meters. Then Yuta's is, what is it called? Mutual love? Something like that. I don't know. Or authentic love. Something like that. And he has the small barrier, or the mini barrier, whatever you want to call it, where he can fully absorb the entire range of Sukuna's 200 meters if he wants to. And the mini barrier also has the inside and out flipped, specifically to counter the fact that an open domain can usually protrude. I'm not too sure on that though. I'm gonna have to check back. Sukuna is vanilla, but he does everything exceptionally well. Authentic mutual love. Yeah, exactly. Just call it mutual love for now. So we're gonna keep it as this. What else can we say about the domain? What else can we say about the domain? He can use copy inside of his domain without needing to use the ring. I think everyone knows that. Isn't max range 400 meters? I think that's the diameter, not the radius. Hold on. There's a difference. Radius versus diameter. I always forget. I always mix these two up. Yeah, the radius is 200 meters. So I should put that on. Max range 200 meter radius. Because radius is half the diameter. Like from the center. So if you were like caught in the center of Malevolent Shrine, you would only need to move 200 meters at worst case, you would only need to move 200 meters. You would not need to move 400 meters. That's why I use the radius instead of the diameter. Alright, so let's get to stats, right? This is the part that I think Sukuna clearly dominates. Stats, and you'll see why in a bit. Stats for you as well. So in terms of speed, what can we say about 15 Fingers Sukuna in terms of speed? He is faster than Jogo, who is near or lower than Naobito in speed. And Naobito is regarded as being the fastest sorcerer except Gojo, even though Yuta is already a sorcerer. So with that, we can kind of say that Naobito is faster than Yuta when he's fully stacked, which means that 15 Fingers Sukuna, which blitzed, or not blitzed, but he was like outspeeding Jogo, who is near Naobito, who is faster than Yuta. Yeah, I think that's how it works. Okay, so faster than Jogo, who is Naobito. He's either greater or equal to Naobito. And regarded. Naobito is regarded. Sorcerer. Except Gojo. So I think is that agreeable? Would you guys say that's agreeable? 15 Finger Sukuna is greater than 15 Finger Sukuna in Megumi's body in terms of speed? Yes. Who is greater than Ryu, who is around Sendai Yuta in speed, who is equal to end of series Yuta in speed. I don't necessarily agree that Ryu is equal to Sendai Yuta. And the reason why is because it's kind of hard to tell since he's not going all out the entire fight. He's just trying to get points. I find that a little harder to quantify. Yuta called Ryu fast. Yeah, but I mean, Urame called Choso's piercing blood fast and then proceeds to keep up with Hakari. In terms of strength, I think it's pretty obvious that Sukuna is also stronger. Well, is it obvious? He's not stronger than Rika. Because Rika held him down. Like, Rika pinned him in his true form. Where he has, like, natural muscle advantage on top of, like, his curse energy. He might be stronger than Yuta, but weaker than Rika. I think. Would that be fair to say? Yuta was trying to kill. Megumi added the transfer points right after the fight. Up until then, he was trying to kill. I don't believe that. He knew that the team would pull through. He was just going for, like, points, enough points to get a rule. He didn't really care who it came from. What can we say about Yuta's stats? He's around. Let's say his speed should be around the other heavy hitters. Yuta soul swapped with Gojo, and when he body hopped into Gojo, it had to help his manipulation of curse energy, right? Yeah, it did. It did. It very much did. I believe it's even shown or said. What chapter was that? Was it 268 or 267? Let's try 267. This is where they're training. I don't believe it's this chapter. Yeah, it's not. 264 maybe? Nope, even before that. 262. Yeah, so he says doing switch training with Gojo allowed me to elevate my barrier techniques too. And barrier techniques are based on refinery, which means that his curse energy manipulation should, by proxy, have gotten better. There's no other way. Would you look into Dorohedoro or Fate? If you'd like it. I have not seen those, but I guess I'll read them at some point. It's been so long since I read any JJK, I don't remember. Dude, I feel you, bro. I feel you on that. I feel you. Just make this a little bit smaller. so that I have more space to work with. Okay. Yes, in terms of speed, he is faster. Because he should be around, like, Yuta should be equal to the other heavy hitters. And then, Maki can keep up with 16 Finger Meguna, who is not hindered in speed, and so can Yuji. So I guess there's that, right? So maybe they are around the same speed. I'm not too sure actually. But we never see Sukuna like actually lock in during Cursed Womb Under Heaven. Because let me just go back and check. Dude, I miss the TCB website. They always had like the chapters labeled. I think it was 216. Nope, I'm too far. 214. Is this it? Oh, 215. Alright. When they translating the interview? What interview? Megane was hindered, just not as bad as his curse energy. Yuki clears everyone, debate me. Bro, I think Yuki clears everyone too, bro. Black hole, the planet is gone. The only one who's surviving that is Takaba. Alright. So they're here, Maki says she's late. They start fighting. Mind if I speed things up so Maki goes faster and Yuji can follow? Sukuna then, he looks like he's starting to lock in, even though we later get confirmation by the narrator that he never truly locked in before until his like next fight with Maki. But yeah, they're like pretty relative in terms of speed. He is easily both blocking Maki and Yuji at the same time. But then he's like, every time I try to counterattack, the cursed energy plummets. So he's not hindered in movement speed. But he is hindered in trying to attack them. So he attacks the ground instead. And then he gets like cleaner hits off. And then Maki just brushes it off. He's like, nice. So I guess there you have like, if all the heavy hitters are supposed to be relative in all stats narratively, then this right here should be a case for that, for Yuta being able to keep up. Thank you, Low Boy, for subscribing. But yeah, Low Wee Boy, my bad. Says he blocked them both pretty casually while they were aggro. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna block Yuji and Maki, then use Spiderweb Cleave in the mix. Yep. But I don't know if Maki is going at her max speed as well, because they're both like ramping up. Like the fact that Maki says or asks if she can go faster, like kind of is alluding to that she has more left in the tank. And then Urame interrupts the fight. So we never really get any true confirmation on how well the heavy hitters, if they're all relative to Maki, would do against 16 finger Sukuna. But this is 15 finger, so he should be weaker in terms of output, but not necessarily in terms of body stats, because Yuji's body is just tougher than Megumi's. I was a little behind on the stream, but I'm caught up now. Nice, nice. Original translation could be interpreted differently in that Sukuna was hindered, but it wasn't as bad as his curse energy. I'm pretty sure Lightning or Dolphin Dude translated. If you can find it, send it to me, either in the chat or on Discord or whatever, because I'm willing to look into that. I'm willing to look into that. I can just from lightning clear. Where's there at? Yeah, lightning clear. Lightning clear, and then what should I look for? I'm gonna look for keyword output. There's some stuff. There's some stuff. Yo, Tiberius, thank you for the dono, bro. Let's go. Deadass, man, you're a good dude. Keep doing your thing. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. I really do. Let me see if I can get you up on the board. How do I take a picture of this? Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was looking for the possible translation from lightning. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Yo, gotta go do something important tomorrow. I gotta go. Have fun, guys. Cheers. Thank you so much for stopping by, Plank. It was fun seeing you here again. But yeah, good luck tomorrow with whatever you gotta do. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe it was the other person. I don't know who that other person is. Oh, I found it. I found it actually. Lightning did comment on it. And Lightning agrees, or Lightning seems to agree, that it is the physicals that is purely being nerfed and not anything else. Let me see if I can get this up on the stream. Yeah, so Sukuna initially says that his curse energy output when he uses dismantles on Yuji, and then he says his curse techniques curse energy output when he is fighting both Yuji and Maki. So both of these give the impression that his curse technique skill is the skill being nerfed, not his physicals, which is how I interpret it is as well. Okay, so let's try and get back on track. Let's try and get back on track. Yeah, his speech should be around the other heavy hitters. Who could keep up with 16-fingered Meguna. So, if we're going by the narrative, I agree on Sukuna being hindered with his curse technique output, not his physicals. Yeah, exactly. So if we're going by the narrative, then Sukuna would be the faster one, because he's faster than Jogo, who should be around Naobito's level. Naobito's the fastest, even though Yuta, Yuki, and Geto were all special grades at the time. I don't know how that works. Maybe that statement is excluding the special grades, but they only make sure to exclude Gojo and not other special grades. So that's why I'm more inclined to think that Naobito is just faster than everyone else. So narratively, Sukuna would have it. But then if we look at the feats themselves, Maki is not... I mean, Sukuna is faster in this exchange, because he's keeping up with 2 characters at the same time. And then still has time to go to the ground and use cleave. But it's not like he's outspeeding anyone. He's like... Or not like he's blitzing, that's what I should say. He's faster, but he's not blitz fast. And then let's look at strength. So if we're going by strength, I think the best fight to look at is probably just Sukuna versus Mahoraga, because that's when he tries the hardest. Or was it 118 where Mahoraga comes out? Not sure. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, so he's easily able to take the Sword of Extermination. I should make note that this version of Mahoraga is not tamed, which means that he's weaker than the one who fought Gojo. So those 2 things should not be comparable at all, because we don't know how much weaker he is than the one that fought Gojo. Because we know that you can amplify your Shikigami, your 10 Shadow Shikigami with your own cursed energy, or you can just leave them as they are. Yuta was keeping up with Yuji after Shibuya, if I recall correctly, but I don't remember how hard he was trying. It didn't really seem like he was trying all that hard, because like he was just trying to corner him into where Rika was, and then Rika just held him in place. So he's keeping up here. He's durable, but it's also kind of hard to tell if he's durable because of Yuji, or if he's if he would be that durable in general. I think he would, but there's obviously a boost factor because of Yuji. So he's just like analyzing Mahoraga. He's not really going hard, and it's like slowly adapting to everything. So here he gets hit like pretty hard. He has to block with 2 hands instead of 1, or 2 arms. And then he gets thrown through a bunch of buildings. And then he's like still smiling. It doesn't really look like he took much damage. But we also know that Sukuna has automatic RCT when he's at full stats. Like his RCT is so potent that sometimes he just ends up healing himself even if he didn't mean to. So it's kind of hard to tell. When he's in Megumi's body, it does feel like he tanks the big attacks using domain amplification and stuff like that. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. There is the opening Hollow Purple, which he did not use domain amplification on. He just like took the attack with raw CE physicals and constant RCT, which, you know, was pretty, like, I don't think anyone interpreted it that way when it initially came out. But yeah, it was pretty cool to retroactively get confirmation that there was no domain amplification on that. Like, he was just taking the attack and trying to heal simultaneously. So yeah, he's still analyzing Maharaga right here. And the anime goes like way further in terms of like what it showcases. Because in the anime, it looks like Sukuna's actually getting pressured when he activates domain. But in the manga, you know, he's not actually pressured. Like, I would play the clip here, but I think my stream would instantly get copyrighted. But yeah, he's not pressured in the manga at all. Or at least he doesn't look like he's getting pressured. Like, it just stands up, and then he's like, okay, this is your ability, domain. He doesn't even, like, wait for the possibility of a counterattack. So yeah, the narrator explains what his domain does, and how it's special. And then they show his binding vow. He shortened the range. And then everything goes boom. And then he uses Fuga to kill Maharaga while it's adapting or regenerating or whatever. So this is cool, but I can't take any stats out of this because it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. I think it's hard to tell exactly what is going on here. But yeah, let me just tell you guys where I'm at mentally in terms of this fight. So I think Yuta's main win condition is mainly Jacob's ladder. Since Sukuna is incarnated as a cursed object, you know, and those things hold themselves together via binding vows, and using Jacob's ladder, you can strip curse technique from someone's brain, which we know is engraved on the cursed object via your personality or whatever because of those binding vows. So if you strip the cursed technique, you also strip the cursed object with it. Those two things go hand in hand. That's why what's her face? Angel says that it's a dangerous process, because we know that from the Culling game rules, if you get stripped of your curse technique, it equals automatic death, right? So that's why Jacob's ladder is mainly the win condition, because it can just pull the cursed object out of Yuji and he can win that way. Because I don't really think he would survive 15 minutes in like a domain clash. It doesn't seem likely. He's chilling in the manga, but in the anime he's being pressed all around the city, going through the trains and all that. Yeah, agreed. So yeah. So then let's look at what happens to 16-finger Sukuna, who is a stronger version of Sukuna than this 15-finger Sukuna that we're talking about. So let's look at what happens to him when he gets hit with Jacob's ladder. Right? I think it's 215. Is it 215? No, I'm way off. It's 212. Dude, I'm so off. It's not 212. It's 213. I'm so bad with these chapters. Alright, boom. He gets burnt to a crisp. Right? So he uses New as lightning. Angel's above. He doesn't even notice Angel. He's like busy just trying to get rid of everyone else. Or does he notice Angel? I'm not too sure actually. Because he summons Nue here. Inui uses the lightning on Takaba and Maki. And then like he looks up. Does he look up? I'm not sure if he notices Angel. Oh yeah, he does, because he's monologuing about her. So yeah. It's him, the disgraced one. And he knows about Angel, because Angel explained herself to Yuji. He was listening. That's when he was like, I'm the Fallen. So he knows about Angel, he knows about Angel's technique. He remembers her from his past life. And despite knowing who Angel is and what the technique does, he did not have time to move out of the way. And look at this radius, by the way. Look at how huge Jacob's Ladder is. Look at how huge this attack is. This city-wide attack. Like the spell is like as big as like the entire, well, it's not a city-wide attack. It's like a district and a city, but it's like a district size attack. Yuta could start the fight full manifestation Rika and use Jacob's Ladder. If Sukuna is able to domain extension, Yuta can use his oh my god, I can't read. His improved CE reinforcement he got from Gojo to withstand the attacks while using RCT. Yeah, he could do that, but I don't even think he'll need to, right? So as I was saying, he saw Angel, he knows who Angel is, he monologued about Angel in his head. Despite that, he still could not dodge in time. Right? This was not a sneak attack. If he wanted to, he could have dodged. Or not necessarily dodged, because no one in Jijik has light speed, but he could have gotten out of the way before the attack was launched, is more so what I'm getting at. But yeah, all she says is, oh light, purify. Oh no. Angel's the one who's chanting. Anna says give him back. Angel says, oh light, purify all, oh light. Alright. So they're essentially doing like a double chant. I'm not too sure on that, but I don't know if give him back also counts as a chant. But either way, by time he like looks up, or is he already being peeled hair? I'm not too sure. When does the peeling start? Because he looks up here.
Hey yo.
When does he start getting peeled? He looks up here, and then his clothes are being burned. Like he already has like burn marks and like blood on his face. How does this work? Or is the page out of order? He starts getting burnt hair, and then she charges the attack, and then when he's hit with the brute force of the attack, he like fully turns to a crisp. Shibuya Sukuna gives him Ryu treatment, but Yuta is around 15 finger Sukuna in speed via Maki. Agreed. Also, what's good, bro? Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. How are you doing today, Shaquan Wiggins? How are you doing today? I don't get how this technique works. Wait, I actually have the volume version on my computer. Wait, no, I don't. That's on my other computer. Never mind. But they added a couple extra pages. Let me see if I could find it. JJK chapter 213 volume edition. Added material. Can I see it here? Full chapter. I hope I'm not gonna get copyrighted. This is taking too long to load. The volume edition. It was very different in the volume version. Alright. that got taken down. No, this one doesn't have the volume version either. Come on, man, just load. Is here I could find it somewhere. Is this the volume edition? It is not. So I'm just really curious when Sukuna starts getting hit by this attack. When does he start getting hit by that? Let me see if the Miyamura ones had anything to say. Oh, he had an imager page. Alright, here. This is the volume version. Because here you actually see in the, like, Gege corrected it, but in the volume version they show that Nue was merged with Orochi, the snake. Because if you zoom into its head, you see like the snake sigil. So this is not just like a unique Nue because Sukuna made it bigger. This is just a fusion. This is a like prelude to the totality. Prelude to Agito. Yo, what's good, Alphobi? Samura versus Shibuya Sukuna, bro. Samura stomps, bro. Hello? He's got Al, Crow, Suzaku. He's winning, bro. He's got that Iai White Purity style. Hello? But yeah, in this one, he looks up. He has his monologue while he's getting burnt. Okay. So in the volume version, he does get caught off guard. It's different to the weekly release version. Because here, he just uses Nue. Nue blasts everyone with lightning. He looks up. Wait, no, it's the same. I'm stupid. It's the same. He has his monologue here while he's getting burnt too. And that's before the full hit starts. Dude, I don't get it. Is it like if he's just like thinking, or if Angel's just like radiating their cursed energy that it already starts stripping away everything? Because let's say if you have to like pre-activate it, and then you do your chants and you like get the whole sigil in the sky, and then like the beam comes down. If that is the case, then Yuta will pretty much always get this attack off. Right? Because he'll start to burn Sukuna before the attack even gets launched. Because look at this panel, like his face is already burning up here, and the attack only gets launched here after his face started burning. Do you think Sukuna is island or country level? I don't know. His AP or like AP. His like DC is max range is like 400 meters, I guess. He could destroy a city in an hour, I guess, but he doesn't have the range to do it. I think if you give him unlimited time, he could even destroy the world. He's strong enough, but his attacks are too limited in range. Yeah. I think Yuta gets the Jacob ladder off no matter what. No matter what. He has to. He gets it off on 16 Finger Sukuna. Or 15, I mean. But yeah, let me go back to my main argument. So, we see that a 16 Finger Megana is able to use regular bodily motor function against Hana's full power Jacob ladder. And he does this to try and smooth talk her, which is right here. Alright, so the attack is still going, says Hana, while he's getting blasted, and he's like, I remember now. Thank you, I'm done, I'm fine now. And then Angel says to just keep going, but Hana stops because she's just a kid, a teenager. And that's a crush. And then boom, betrayal. Right? But he still has enough bodily function to move around. It's just that he can't use his curse technique, and he most likely lost access to his cursed energy as well, because his cursed energy is inherently linked to the cursed object, which is Sukuna. Normally your cursed energy should be fine under Jacob's Ladder, but Sukuna is a unique circumstance because his cursed energy is directly linked to the cursed object. So you hit him with Jacob's Ladder, the cursed object starts getting peeled, and his access to his cursed energy as well as his cursed technique goes away. Yeah, he is tanking it, but I mean, this is Yuta versus Sukuna that we're talking about, right? So at that point, you would have to have a Yuji physicals. Yeah, like pure physicals, Yuji's pure physicals. He would have to fight against Yuta with the ring on. Like, he's not winning that. Sukuna's not winning that. End of series Yuta against a weaker Sukuna. Yeah, exactly. Because people like to mention that, where is it? Let me just open another tab to show you. I think it is 257. We were just there, but I don't remember these things. Nope, it is not 257. 262? Is this it? Nope, further yet. 265. Too far. 263? I think this is it. Yeah, so the end of the chapter in Shinjuku, Hana hits Sukuna with Jacob's Ladder again. So this is the second time that he's gotten caught in Jacob's Ladder. And then what happens here is that Sukuna again loses access to his curse technique, so he cannot snipe Hana down with Dismantle. However, because of his like huge form and his like stature and all of his muscles, he can just use his physicals to send a bunch of debris upwards, and then he can ride the debris. Which, you know, it makes sense because Yuji in chapter 1 without cursed energy was able to leap a 5-story building or something like that. And this Sukuna in terms of physicals is far stronger. Just like raw physicals, no cursed energy. This Sukuna is far stronger than chapter 1 Yuji. So it makes sense he's able to do this, right? Without cursed energy. And he's then scaling the pillar. He jumps out of the light's range. And then he hits her with a black flash when Toto jumps in the way to tank it. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working with here, right? So he can't do anything, but he's still able to move around. But this 15 finger Sukuna is now in Yuji's body, and instead of Hana being the one casting it, it's Yuta, who is far stronger. Like, Yuta could effectively just use his higher curse energy and whatnot to keep Sukuna stuck in the range of the light. She's missing an arm, so its output is less at that. Damn, you were just glazing that man's muscles low. True, but I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. Let me see where they say that. He does say that. He does say, yeah, they're coexisting within that body. You are nothing but a strong technique in a weak shell. Losing one of their arms makes that fact all the more true. Because they lost their arms, they aren't able to garner the same output they did back then. So Sukuna essentially confirms that this Jacob's Ladder was far stronger than this one. And this one is being used on a stronger Sukuna because he's essentially at 20 finger level. He's 19 fingers, but because he ate the mummy head, he's like 20 fingers worth of curse energy. And he can still move around. And this Sukuna was pretty much getting charred to like a crisp. Do you think the speed of Hana's attack was slower in Shinjuku? Do I think it's slower? I'm gonna just say no. I'm gonna just say no because it's light, so it's automatically light speed. The attack. It's just that no character scales to their own attacks except Sukuna. He's like a weird exception to that rule because he can outrun his own dismantles. But mostly nobody scales to their own attacks. So it's like a beam of light. I don't know, I don't think it's slower per se. Because that would imply that light could slow down. Unless you mean the charging of the attack, which she did off screen before Toto teleported her in, so it's like, you know, it's kind of negligible in this point. But yeah, so this is a stronger Sukuna taking a weaker attack. And then people would use this example to show that he would survive Yuta's Jacob's Ladder. I don't think so. And then the funniest part of that is like they will use the Yuta using Jacob's Ladder in his domain example, which I think is chapter 251. Is that 251? Yeah, it's 251. So right here, maximum output, Jacob's Ladder. He gets hit with it, he starts burning to a crisp. Then Yuta sticks a sword in his arm and cuts that arm open. And Rika is strong enough to hold Sukuna in place so that he cannot move his arms. Or at least the arms that he can still use, right? What happens here is that Yuji is running behind Yuta. He gets burnt by the Jacob's Ladder for a mere moment, like an instant, and then he turns it off. The reason why he turns it off is so that Yuji can use the soul fissuring punch, which most likely requires cursed energy, or it's like a cursed technique. If he doesn't do this, then Megumi gets separated from Sukuna in a bad way, which Angel described as like losing your cursed technique that's etched into your brain, which is like the same as like cursed technique removal that the culling game barriers do. And if that happens, you most likely die. And since they're trying to save Megumi, he turned off the ladder right here. Like he's covered in light, and then you see it like start to not be covered in light anymore, and then the beam is gone on this panel. And then Yuji does it, boom. Okay, and then while Yuji is in his like soul realm, because Yuta turned off Jacob's Ladder, Sukuna regained access to his cursed techniques. So he starts charging for the world cutting slash. And then we see that in the meantime, what he did first was he managed to probably cleave Rika or something while she was holding him, because we know he can just like use his cursed technique without moving a muscle, as per the fight with Kusakabe. So he probably did that, or just like threw out like some really close range dismantles at both of them. Then he put his arms together for the Enmaten sign, and then opened them back up again so that he could point for the world cutting slash. And he did that all while Yuji was in the soul realm. So yeah, again, this instance is not really a good indicator to say that Jacob's Ladder wouldn't work. Why? Because their strategy specifically revolved around Yuta turning it off. If he like kept it on for far longer, the outcome would have been very different. So yeah. Nah, I meant the speed after it was launched, so it proves Sukuna is FTL. Is he FTL? I don't think so, because he never dodged it. Random, but ayo, I think I found the argument to finally prove that Sukuna did not use World Cutting Slash in 251. Alright, tell me. Because I think he did. I'm waiting for that. But yeah. So I think Jacob's Ladder is a pretty solid win condition for Yuta in this fight against 15 Fingers Sukuna. But yeah, with all that being said, none of it matters if Sukuna never gives Yuta a chance to charge up for like a full power Jacob's Ladder with like his chants and his hand signs and stuff like that. But luckily for Yuta, Sukuna never starts out a fight going all out. Usually like prefers to toy with his opponents. And I think if he does that with Yuta, he could use Rika to create an opening to use whatever he wants, because Rika can clearly keep a 20-finger Sukuna pinned down, and it's not just in this chapter, it's also in 249, I think. And this is before all of his output starts dropping with like his physicals, because before this point, the only outputs that dropped were his RCT output because of his fight with Gojo, and he gets hit with one soul fissuring punch right before Higuruma uses his domain expansion on him. So in terms of output, he should still be pretty close to that 19-finger Sukuna level, right? And even then, Rika is still able to just push him downwards, keep him pinned, and whatnot, you know? I think she's like a really strong curse spirit. And it's consistent, because even in like after Shibuya, with Yuta versus Yuji, Rika was also able to keep recovering Yuji pinned down, and Yuji's pretty strong physically. He's pretty strong. Oh, you're gonna send it to me on Discord? Alright, sure. He punched the ground after it launched before it hit him. Let me check. Let me see. The attack gets launched, he punches the ground. Is that before? Maybe. If you interpret these speed lines as like the light of Jacob's Ladder, then I guess so. Yeah, that's if you interpret these speed lines as being Jacob's Ladder. But if you look on this, like the prior chapter, the light is already covering him when he turns around. We might have to wait until the anime to see for sure how that sequence is supposed to be played out. But yeah, because if you look at like Hana's page right here at the start of the chapter, you can clearly see the beam of light around her because of the black speed lines next to the beam of light. And then you look at Sukuna while he's looking at her, and his background is completely white too, which kind of indicates that he's also already in the light, similar to Yuji. And Todo does not have this, indicating that he did not get caught within the range. So that's kind of how I interpreted it. But if you think that this attack was not like reaching him yet, and you interpret these speed lines as the light coming downwards, then yes. But it's really dependent on interpretation. It's really dependent on interpretation. Alright, so let's get to the, I think, interesting part. So a lot of people were kind of dogging me for this, for like the domain expansion part. And a lot of people think that the fight even gets to come down to a domain clash, which I don't think it does, because Jacob's Ladder is able to burn a hole through the culling game barrier, which we know is the strongest barrier in the series in terms of like unbreakability. And Hana is able to just pass in between each colony because she can burn holes through them, which means that Jacob's Ladder should technically be able to negate a domain expansion. So I don't even think it comes down to a domain clash, if I'm being honest. But we can yeah, this is a very subjective scale. Yeah, it is subjective. But yeah, I don't think it comes down to a domain clash, but let's say if it did come down to a domain clash, right? Let's say if they started the fight with domain clashes instead of like Yuta instantly going for Jacob's ladder. End of series, Yuta now knows how to stall with his mini domain until he can beat Sukuna to a point where he can't maintain his own domain anymore, right? And then he would just need to hold out for roughly 15 minutes until Yuji wakes up, because this is Shibuya Sukuna. So he needs to just hold out 15 minutes. That's all he has, 15 minutes. And a lot of people disagree with me, but I think he can probably hold out for longer than 3 minutes with his small barrier. And the reason why I say this is because this would not be 20 Finger Sukuna clashing with Yuta and Gojo's body. No, it would be 15 Finger Sukuna clashing. And people are like, yeah, but the difference in power is kind of negligible, because he's like 75% of 20 Finger Sukuna allegedly. But then we look at like how their fight would go inside the domain, and Sukuna's dismantles can't even one-shot Ryu, right? And he's comparable to Yuta in durability. And people were like, no, Yuta is tough, or my bad, no, Ryu is tougher than Yuta, but that's never said. So if we go back to the scan itself, it is chapter 250 where he says that. This is the one chapter I do remember out of my head, but it's right here. If I don't make direct contact, I won't leave a fatal wound, just as it was with him. Although I wouldn't say they surpass him in toughness. So a lot of people interpret this statement to mean that Yuta's durability is weaker than Ryu. But he never says that. He says that he doesn't surpass him. Look, if I'm not like an arcade, right? And the record for the boxing machine or like the punching machine is like 949, and I hit exactly 949, I never surpassed the record, but I did hit it. So no, I would not have technically surpassed him. I wouldn't say that I surpassed him, but it does not mean that I'm not equal to him. Check DMs. Let me check. In 250, Sukuna said this while having 4 arms, so the bottom 2 are holding all over a basket handstand, which means he only has 2 upper arms. In 251, when Sukuna uses the amped dismantle, he only has 2 upper arms. After my fight with Gojo Satoru, not only am I still unable to expand my domain, the effects of my reverse curse technique remain sluggish. At this point, my total curse energy likely matches the brat. On top of maintaining hollow wicket basket renders me unable to use the world bisecting dismantle after extending the targeted technique. I see what you're saying. Because what I learned from Gambler was just open another tab. What chapter was that? Is it chapter 258? I think it was. No, it's not. Was it? No, it's a prior chapter. 256 maybe? 255? Is this the one? Yeah. So right here, 255. In order to activate the broad targeted world severing dismantle, The same hand sign used for Malevolent Shrine, which is called Enmaten, was required. However, with only one arm remaining prior to his transformation, Sukuna was forced to impose a binding vow to the activation conditions for all preceding uses of the move in order to cut Gojo. Presently, on top of both Enmaten hand sign and the chants being required, the trajectory of the technique must be specified via his palm. But what this doesn't say is that the trajectory of the technique must be specified at the same time as the hand sign for Enmaten. And that's kind of what I learned from Gambler's stream. That's why Gambler thinks that every time that Sukuna was chanting to create like a big slash, that it was the world cutting slash. Gege has Sukuna internally say he can't use it during the same fight it happens. Yeah, that is true. That is true, that is true. But is that the reason why he can't use it though? Because maintaining Hollow Wicker Basket could also just be a thing. Wait, let me look for the 251 when he says that. I want to see the full context of the quote. This is 250 when he says this. I'm gonna go back up. 251. Yeah, he still has 4 arms. Yeah, he does still have 4 arms. Slashes are getting weaker, the blood explodes. He loses his arm right here. And then the other one, Jacob's Ladder, he loses his other arm. Yeah, you might be onto something. You might be onto something. So confusing, bro. Gege did not think this through. When did he say the quote that you sent me? Was that 250? It must have been. Oh yeah. Was it? Dude, I'm scanning over these chapters so fast. When did he say that? Where am I? What is he? It is towards the beginning of the chapter. Oh, right here. Yeah. And I don't know. Do we know if it's possible to use your curse technique while A hollow wicker basket is active. Do we know if that's possible? Because it could be similar to like domain amplification, where you can't use your innate technique simultaneously. Because that's the only other thing that I can think of. He uses dismantle on Yuta in 251 and UG in like 266. His arms are already separated. His arms are separated here as well. His arms are separated here. Separated here. He still has them here. Okay, so he unseparates the hands here. Or he separates them there. Oh yeah, he uses cleave here. Let's see. Okay, so it is possible to use your innate technique and hollow wicker basket at the same time. Yeah, then I guess you might be right. Yeah. So then amped dismantles are a thing. Okay. Gambler's not gonna like this. That's all I gotta say. He's not gonna like that. Remember, Yuta says he doesn't have to fear the slashes anymore. All cutting slashes, him extending the target. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, but I don't know if that messes with my bottom line here with 15 finger Sukuna. I don't know if that messes with it. Because I still find the wording to be very strange in 255 when they never specified that these two conditions need to happen simultaneously. The thing Gambler is using is his interpretation of what's in the story. Sukuna outright says he can't. True. But then, because it's weird, because where does he get his hand cut off? Like they mention what the condition is for using the World Cunning Slash. And then right here, he loses his hand, right? Maki cuts it off. He loses it, he gets speed blitzed by Maki. Maki cut off his hand right here. It's like dropping to the ground. And then as soon as he loses this hand, he says he can't complete the hand sign with just his right arms. So I feel like Gege was trying to paint like a sort of narrative that he could do it with two arms as long as they were of opposite arms to form the Emeten hand sign. He doesn't fire another World Cunning Slash at that point, if I recall correctly. Yeah, because he shoots like a chant amped dismantle at Maki. And one other person. But I guess that wouldn't be the World Cunning Slash, huh? Don't remember who exactly shoots it at. I know he shoots one at Maki, but... Oh yeah, and Yuta, of course. That's the one we were talking about. Sukuna would have used World Cunning Slash if all he needed was 2. Maki happens in 252. Yeah. He doesn't fire another World King Slash at that point. Okay. Does he never fire another World King Slash? Until he heals himself, which is like after all the black flashes. Boom, 11 Shrine, which he got back instead of his healing. And Choso gives up himself here. Toto comes back. And then they start fighting, and Yuta comes back at the end of this. He won. Call Higurumi because the case is closed. Yo, bars? Hello? Spitting bars out here. That's a mini chapter. And then we get another mini chapter. And then the then the continuation of the mini chapter. Boom, he blows up his own domain. Yuta falls down. Dismantles. This is the Jacob's Ladder part. Scales up. And then Yuji uses his domain here. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So he only fired it twice. And then 2 instances of amped dismantles, I guess. Is that how I should be interpreting it? Yeah, I think this is how... This is it. This chapter is just yap. And here they start fighting in his domain. Why does he never use the Working Slash here? Is he stupid? Or did he want to lose? Dude, this is what I'm talking about, bro. Every single Sukuna fight, this guy never goes all out. Bro, he's physically fully healed again. The only thing that he doesn't have is that his soul isn't, like, at full capacity. Because his, like, soul has been, like, fissured a lot already. And Yuji made him spit up fingers. But, like, physically, he should be, like, completely superior to Yuji right now. Even if he's holding out Oliver Basket. I don't get... Like, look, this panel, bro. This panel is, like, the epitome of why I think that Yuta beats Yuji. Because Sukuna does not make logical choices, bro. He just does what he feels is, like, cool or fun. Or, like, bro, Sukuna is so stupid, bro. He's trying to punch Yuji in the same fashion that Yuji's punching him. Even though Yuji's punches are making his punches weaker. Is he stupid? Bro. Like he even like realizes his strikes have an effect that I can't overcome with reverse curse technique. Oh my god. And then he gets his technique back. Oh, that's why he didn't use the Working Slash, because he was burnt out. That's what it was. He was lucky. But yeah, then at that point, why fight, you know? Just run until your technique comes back. It's the Mahito classic. And yeah, he just shatters the gauntlet, but his hand is fine underneath it. So the gauntlet is like pretty durable because it took a bunch of slashes already this whole arc. And then he goes for like a domain clash, and Yuji is charging up a black flash while he tries to go for a domain, which is why I think that even if Nobara didn't come back, Yuji would have still won, because while he's doing his old domain thing, he can't fight back immediately. And he's charging for the black flash right here. Boom. Oh, never mind. He survived that black flash. What the? Or was it? Oh, it wasn't a black flash. It was a dismantle. And then the black flash comes later, I guess. Oh yeah, here he's charging for the black flash. Okay. Well, maybe he did need no more. Whatever. But yeah. So I want to go over some arguments that people were having with me about Yuta versus Sukuna. So someone said Ryu is much more durable than Yuta. Domain Amp Yuta had less durability than Yuta. So I find that to be really funny because it is never stated anywhere in the series that a domain amplification gives you a physical stat buff. It does give you a stat buff, but that's in your curse technique. Your curse technique is amped to 120%. But in terms of physicals, you do not get a physical stat buff. So let's look at the instances where they say that. I think the Reggie chapters are like 167 or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, 168. Let's do 171. Domain expansion. Yeah, okay, I got it. Good. So he doesn't have his sure hit because he can't do his domain. And right here, curse techniques neutralize the barrier of domain expansion as nullify sure hit attack. Right now, Chimera Shadow Guardian is only an extension of the 10 shadows, something that merely improves its potential capacity by 120%. See, so the 10 shadows is improved to 120%, but he isn't. And let's go to, when does he fight Jogo? Is that like 19? Is that 19? It might be like 14. Yeah. The chapter is called Domain, so it's the one after this. Yeah, Domain. Okay, so he teaches Yuji about Domain. And let's see. Where is it? So the upgrade in stats is due to the environment. It's like a buff in video games. And then he gives like some illustrations with like counters. Yeah, so this buff, like the stat buff that he's referring to, is the environmental advantage. Shiba versus disaster curses. Ooh. I don't know. I think if the disaster curses use their domains, well, Shiba could teleport out of the domain. It depends how fast the sure hit starts. Shiba could probably win, but I don't know. I feel like Mahito's 0.2 domain, for example, is like a good wild card. Tenryu Denseki was stressing Shiba a little bit. True. But I don't know how much Tenryu would scale to like the disaster curses. But yeah, I don't think it's ever stated that you specifically get a physical stat buff from a domain expansion. Yeah, I don't know if there are any other instances where it's like stated, but yeah. And then someone else was like, if Sukuna starts to take damage and he realizes the threat of Jacob's ladder, he will just cut Yuta down. And I feel like I already kind of addressed this, but if you're in the ladder, you lose access to your curse technique, so he can't cut him down. You can't get sniped. Unless he like throws a rock at you or something, but you know, that's not gonna do much to Yuta. Oh, right. So there's this instance of, I think it's Kusakabe saying that his simple domain gives like buffs and debuffs. Let's see if I could find that chapter. I think it's like 256. Is it 256? No, it is 255. Nope, 254. Let's see if I could find the statement. Yeah, so here. He says that within this domain, because it's even if it's a simple domain, a domain is still a domain. Within this domain, my curse energy output will get a boost, while the power of Sukuna's abilities will somewhat weaken. So there's that, right? But we know for a fact that your curse energy output does not directly correlate to your physical stats. And the reason why I say that is because Ryu Ishigori has the highest output in like history. He was born, I think, in the Edo period, which is like year 1600. Yeah, he's from the Edo era, which is the same as Kashimo. They lived in, they were alive at the same time. So going backwards, yeah, counting backwards, Sukuna lived in the Heian era, which was like started in year 900, ended in year 1200. It's like a 300-year period. So the narrator saying that Ryu Ishigori has the highest output in history would also include Sukuna, right? So if he has a higher curse energy output than Sukuna, then that means that Ryu Ishigori, by that same logic, should be stronger than Sukuna, yet he isn't, because he gets beat by Yuta, and it takes an entire gauntlet of people just to hold Sukuna down while he's not trying, by the way, or not trying often. So I don't think that curse energy output directly correlates to physical stats. I don't think it does. I mean, sure, it might have an effect, because if you can output more and you know how to wield it, then technically you should also be able to apply that to your stats. But I don't think there's a direct one-to-one correlation. So again, a domain should not inherently give you a physical boost in stats. So Yuta getting sliced in his domain, and then Sukuna saying that he's comparable to Ryu, is not necessarily an anti-feat for Yuta because he's in his own domain. It's not. It's just not, because we don't know how much of his output is directly correspondent to his stats in this instance. Because we also know that while everyone is fighting, Rika is somewhere else. Well, she's in there, but she also has like a bunker flying in the sky. So her output is split between multiple places, and maybe Yuta is also feeding that. It's just a bunch of unknown derivatives that we don't know. We don't know how much Yuta had to expend his energy in order to keep Rika's bunker active. We just don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys see what I'm saying with this point, that output does, or like a domain does not necessarily give a physical stat buff. It could, but it doesn't necessarily do so. And it's never been verbatim stated to do so. End of series, Yuta has somewhat better reinforcement to go along with that big curse energy reserve. Yes, agreed. Because he did swap training with Gojo. And then he's had a couple months to train with that. Jogo has AoE that will make it hard for Shiba plus Hanami as well. Yeah, agreed. Hanami also has the like flower field that takes away your willpower. Edo period was 400 years prior to present time in JJK. Yup. Cleave scales to the target, which Sukuna killed him with a cleave. He likely knows Falling Blossom emotion. Oh yeah, that's another great point. I said this at some point within the argument too. It's like I was presupposing that hold on, let me say this correctly. Hold on, how am I gonna word this? So let's say that we agree that 15 Finger Sukuna is faster than Yuta. Let's say we also agree that Sukuna in character does not go all out. We can agree on those two things, right? Let's say that we can also agree that since Yuta clearly was not really tanking, but he didn't get one shot by dismantles from 19 Finger Sukuna in his own domain. So it should also be fair to say that he wouldn't get one shot by 15 Finger Sukuna, right? It's an older Yuta against a weaker Sukuna, so he most likely would not get one shot. Sukuna's immediate thought would likely be the same thought that he had when he fought Ryu, right? And that would be to go for a cleave. However, the problem with this is that cleave is an attack that scales directly to his opponent's cursed energy levels. And what's funny about that is that Yuta simply has far more cursed energy reserves than Ryu. So, you know, I don't think even a cleave would be able to one-shot him necessarily per se. Because, well, this maybe my argument, what I'm about to say, is kind of flawed, but even within Sukuna's own domain, when he was at 120% potency with the domain stat boost to his curse technique, Cleave was not able to one-shot Gojo either. It was almost able to, but it wasn't. And Cleave is the one that adjusts, right? He was also getting hit by dismantles too. They're like kind of simultaneously happening. But I don't know. I'm having trouble believing that he also gets one shot by Cleave. I don't power scale, but I at least read the story and understood what was going on. True, dude, you understood more than me because you helped me a lot today too. But yeah, let me know what you think of do you think that, let's say if Sukuna was bloodlusted, do you think that he could one-shot end a series Yuta with one cleave? So I don't think he could, but you know, opinions differ. And my opinion is, again, mainly based on the idea that Yuta has more curse energy reserves than Ryu. Let's see if there were any other decent rebuttals that people were telling me. Alright, this was about the domain expansion, the domain clash. So, I kind of gave the idea that if they both start in domains, end the series, Yuta now knows how to stall with the mini domain, and Sukuna would try to counter that with his minimal range, which ups the output of his curse technique, right? And my original idea was that it should be possible because it would be 15 Sukuna clashing, not 20 finger, and 16 fingers Sukuna's dismantles couldn't even one-shot Ryu, and then this Sukuna would be weaker by 1 finger, and then Yuta would also have Riko with him, which he didn't have in Shinjuku when he was domain clashing with Sukuna. And Rika has enough energy to hold down true form Sukuna in place, which is like at 19 finger level. And this would be a 15 finger Sukuna. So a weaker version of Sukuna, while she can already hold down the stronger version of Sukuna. And this is while she was simultaneously acting as a bunker, right? And what they were saying was that Yuta would not be able to succeed in beating Sukuna beyond the point that he can sustain his domain, even with Rika's help. So their idea was that 16 finger Sukuna was speed blitzing Ryu, who Yuta is relative to, which I don't necessarily agree with. And then 15 fingers Yuji Kuna, they said, is not that much weaker, especially when you account for the fact that a weaker Sukuna than 15 finger Sukuna would be able to tear it up in 3 minutes, meaning 15 finger Sukuna is doing so even quicker. And so I was reading that, and I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird because that entire argument it assumes that Sukuna actually could tear down Yuta's domain in 3 minutes. But the thing is, Sukuna can't even maintain his makeshift domain that long, and he had to use a range limiting binding vow to get more time, because otherwise he would be stuck to the 99-second time limit, which was when did that happen? It's like a chapter before this, 2 chapters before this. Oh my god, it's taking so long to scroll down. $252. Should have just done that. Right here. So the countermeasure that Gojo worked out against Sukuna's domain was a shrunken barrier, where for approximately 3 minutes it's possible to withstand the effects of Malevolent Shrine beating down on the barrier from the outside of the domain. That's Gojo's thing, what he worked out, right? That's what the narrator is saying. Then Yuta, in his own thoughts, thinks that, like he says, during switch training with Gojo, allowed me to elevate my barrier techniques too. Taking Sukuna's fatigue into account, I should be able to stall the domain for 3 minutes like Gojo Sensei did. And then it says that Sukuna, on the other hand, was able to rid himself of the previously imposed 99-second time limit by restricting Malevolent Shrine's effective range to the outline of Okotsu's domain. So usually this binding vow is what gives his technique more power, but now it, instead of giving him more power, give him more time, right? And so Yuta's thinking, or both of them are thinking 3 minutes. But in my head, I'm like, how do you know that it would last 3 minutes? Because this version of Sukuna is far weaker, has less connection to his cursed object and Megumi's body because of Yuji. And even then, where was it? Yeah, Yuta is merely going off of Gojo's precedent. So how would he know, right? And that these are just their characters' inner thoughts, and then the narrator is just saying what Gojo came up with. And then they're thinking of these 3 minutes, but ultimately these 3 minutes, they never even come to pass. Why? Because Yuta blows up the entire domain with a purple from the inside. He blows it up from the inside because he switched to make the mini barrier. He had to switch the inside and the outside of the barrier to make the inside weaker. So a misfired purple is still able to just break the domain from the outside, and it also does just enough damage to Sukuna to where he can't maintain his own malevolent shrine anymore, even though it doesn't do that much damage, but you know. So this fictitious scenario of 3 minutes, it never comes to pass, so we don't actually know if he could last 3 minutes. And what I mainly look at is the fact that Yuta, when he was in this, had to resort to using purple. Why? Because he was in Gojo's body where he couldn't fight normally. He could not keep up with Gojo's limbs or whatever. It's a stupid trope. Or a trope. I don't even know if it's a trope, but it's a stupid occurrence, right? Because he technically already switch trained with Gojo. He should know how this works. He's like the only character to where this was even a problem, but whatever, right? So he can't fight Gojo on even playing field or he can't fight Sukuna on an even playing field like Gojo was able to. Yuta is just not able to replicate that. That's why he resorts to purple. But if he was in his own body, with his own fighting style, with Rika there to help him, I don't think he would need to resort to something as stupidly drastic as this. And then on top of that, his barrier proficiency is, right now, it looks like it's almost equal to Gojo. It's not equal yet, but it feels near equal, right? So I'm thinking, if he was actually able to take the onslaught of Sukuna's attacks, he could probably last way longer than 3 minutes. That's what I'm thinking. Let me read what you said. In the series Yuta, I think I'm okay with surviving one cleave, but he would have to really max out his RCT after reinforcing himself with maxing his curse energy. Yeah, agreed. I don't think he's taking like a lot, but I mean, even Yuji survived cleave to the stomach. You know what I'm saying? And I do obviously know that Yuji has a higher physical durability, like a base durability, than Yuta does. But I mean, just the fact that Yuji survived it, also just, I don't know, I feel like because the heavy hitters are relative, Yuji surviving cleave also should, in some fashion, prove that Yuta could do the same as well. Yuta would have beat Ishigori easier than people think if it was a 1v1. Agreed on that too. Agreed, because Ryu got a lot of sneak attacks in on Yuta because he was like dealing with everyone at once, and he also got hurt by like Kurorushi's like infestation sword, and he got hit with a thin ice missile. It's a matter of time before Yuta pulls a Jacob's Ladder katana in the... Yeah, that too. It's a matter of time before he pulls a katana in the domain. Maybe with the 6 eyes he came to that conclusion. He could have. Yuji is also drenched in curse energy like Shoko says, so Sukuna's curse technique attacks may not damage Yuji as much as others. Oh, that's a good point. I did not think of that. But then, I mean, okay, that's fair, right? But, is it 252? I think it's 253. Right, so he's drenching in Sukuna's cursed energy, so he should be able to take it a lot easier. But then something interesting happens. And right here, when Sukuna locks in for the first time ever in the series, boom, he grabs Maki's face, hits her with a cleave. In her face, and she survives it too. And maybe that could be because Maki doesn't have any curse energy to be adjusted to. So again, that could be a special case. And her body is naturally resistant to curses. So it could be a special case, but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of precedent in like the heavy hitters in general just surviving cleave. It can't scale to Maki, but it's still impressive for Maki. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Dude, I wish I had like a Sukuna fanboy in here to like debate with me, bro. That would be crazy right now. Cause I feel like I'm like missing something. Cause the way how people were talking in like the comment sections, I feel like I may have missed something really crucial here in this versus battle. I don't know. I don't know. Let me look at some other replies. People say stuff like nobody in the series beats 15 to 20 finger Sukuna besides Gojo. Even 10 finger versus Yuta is debatable. And then people say stuff like 15 finger Sukuna outscales everyone in the verse besides Gojo. Yuta is literally going to get cooked. Sure, right? How do people think Yuta's standing a chance against 15 fingers? He needed Yuji and Rika for a 10 finger output Sukuna who can't even domain clash, paired with the fact that Yuji was wearing Sukuna's output the whole time. Now imagine 15 finger Sukuna who 15 finger output who can use his domain, who doesn't need to worry about depleting output. And this again, this always makes this funny assumption that cursed energy amount equals output, except it just doesn't. So just because Sukuna says that his cursed energy likely matches Yuta right now, it does not mean that their outputs are the same. I think that's what people often forget. They think they correlate or they scale to one another. They don't. In the series, Yuta is cracked as well. Simple domain, falling blossom emotion. True. And he also has like Kiguruma who can teach him domain amplification. Falling blossom emotion uses your own curse energy to attack the sure hit, which works in Yuta's favor since his curse energy reserves are so big. True. I think Ryu proves your point on that. Yeah, exactly. Curse energy pool or curse energy reserves and curse energy output should not scale to one another. And then you just have like people in the comments also saying stuff like Yuta stands are delusional. And I'm not even like trying to be a Yuta stan. I'm just looking at all the information given and trying to make an assessment. But I don't see any way how, like the only way how I see Yuta losing this is if you intentionally make Sukuna act out of character to where he's like bloodlusted. That's like one of the only ways how I see that Yuta loses. There would be no point for Ryu to be so impressive is if curse energy amount equals output. Yeah. Sukuna is my number 1 and Yuta is like 6 for me. Dude, Yuta is like 10 for me. I don't even think he's that interesting. Sukuna is like, I don't know. Sukuna's not that interesting for me either. I think he's like number 5. I like Yuji and Megumi a lot. I like Gojo a lot. Nobara I used to like too, but then she just wasn't given enough in the story, sadly. What else did I like a lot? I liked Yuki a lot because of her demeanor. Toto's probably like my number 3 or like my number 4. I like Toto a lot. He's cool. I have a hot take about Viber Slap Toto. Let's hear it. Toto with Viber Slap loses some fighting capability, and not everyone can keep. Hold on. Toto with Viber Slap loses some fighting capability, and not everyone can keep their composure to seamlessly swap hands while being switched. Just saying Toto didn't land a bunch of hits on Sukuna. I mean, he's the best supporter for sure, but you have to surround yourself with fighters that can be swapped and not miss a beat, of course. His creativity is top tier. So basically, Viber Slap Toto is way more support. Agreed 100%. I don't think that Viber Slap Toto can take down any special grades by himself. Sure, it's like a cool ability and it's like overpowered and whatnot, but it is just like, as you said, it's mostly support, because his actual fighting prowess is still the exact same as it was in Shibuya. He doesn't get any stronger, he doesn't get any faster. It's just his technique upgrades itself. But yeah, that's about it. And even the Viber Slap, like, it's cool he has like a spare Viber Slap even in case it goes wrong. But he needs to reattach that because it has to be attached to his bone. So it's not something that he can pull out on the fly. And the Viber Slap breaks pretty easily. So I don't think he's that overpowered. Or at least not as overpowered as people say that he is in 1v1s. In Shibuya, he was able to fight more. He can't combo with only one hand. True. In Shibuya, he was at least able to use Boogie Boogie and combo into attacks. Yeah, now he's just pure support. He throws like 4 or 5 attacks against Sukuna. Yeah, he just lets Yuji do most of the work. Especially when Yuta keeps the shards of domain up still. Dude, that's when Sukuna is like crazy, bro. Cause he really cannot keep up with Toto. And most people can't handle being swapped by him, they get dizzy. Yeah. Even someone with like a mind that works as fast as Sukuna just cannot keep up with the constant swapping. But I mean, the swapping itself is limited to a degree because the Viber Slap will eventually just break. It can't stay alive forever. It's not like a hand which can naturally heal itself. Yeah. Dude, even Alon's is saying that 15 Fingers Sukuna solos the verse except for Gojo. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, dude, what am I let me put this up on stream, bro. What is Alon saying, bro? He said that even Gojo is debatable. What? 15 fingers solos the verse or Gojo, but even that's debatable. How is it debatable? Sukuna's win condition was literally using Mahoraga. He doesn't have Mahoraga at 15 fingers, and he doesn't have the power to domain clash because Gojo was doing like an equal head-to-head domain thing with Sukuna, and that's when Sukuna had his full power. Like if he's at 75%, he's not doing a domain clash. Gojo's just gonna take over his domain. I think people picture the Yuta that fought in 251 and not end the series. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Because I think a lot of people also forget that these characters in 251, 250, whatnot, they were trying to save Megumi. They were not trying to kill Sukuna. Sure, they were trying to get Sukuna to a point where Megumi could be saved, but they weren't trying to kill Megumi. If they did, then he would have just kept Jacob's Ladder active, you know? And there are a lot more other things, like they could have implemented different strategies to where Sukuna would just, like, if they decapitated him, for example, but that wouldn't be smart because they would lose Megumi. Send that to Jaded, the Alon's tweet? Nah, I know snitch, bro. If he finds it on his own, he finds it on his own. But yeah, dude, I think you're right. They keep thinking like end of series Yuta is equal to this Yuta who's like clearly with a different mission / motive than what we're presupposing in this scenario. Because in this scenario, it's like, what if the end of series Yuta got in a time machine and went back to Shibuya? That's essentially what the scenario is. And he just needs to hold out for 15 minutes. That's all. He just needs to hold out. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I don't know. I think he's got it. I think he's got it. Let me see what some other people were saying. Open domain and he beats everyone. Disagree. 15 Fingers Sukuna is physically stronger, faster, has more curse energy. Sure, the more curse energy I agree with. Open barrier and fire arrow. Dude, another thing what people seem to forget is that the fire arrow was verbatim stated to not have that much speed and power. They think the fire arrow is some kind of win condition. They think because Gojo in like spiritual Gojo said that Sukuna was holding back because he didn't use the fire arrow. It suddenly means that the fire arrow is like this amazing win condition when it's just straight up told that it's not. He needed to use a binding vow to get the fire arrow to up its speed and power, and then he also needs to use like the ashes that his domain creates in order to get enough like gunpowder to make a gigantic explosion with the fire arrow. Otherwise it's just not strong. And if people are wondering like, okay, well, if it's not strong, then how did the fire arrow one-shot Jogo? And to that I say Jogo had already taken a lot of damage. Sure, he was healing, but his curse energy reserves were already low. And then there's also the volume extra with Jogo. Let me see if I could find it real quick. The volume extra. Dude, I'm getting all kind of nonsense, bro. Here, this is it. Hanami is super tough. Jogo is technically stronger considering how their elemental types match up than Hanami. However, if he were to ever receive 5 of Itadori's black flash attacks on top of Toto's cursed energy infused playful cloud strike, like Hanami did at that point in time, he would die instantly, which just means that Jogo is a glass cannon, so fire arrow one-shotting makes sense. He has no defense. Sure, he's fast, sure his attacks are strong, his attacks are kind of slow, but he's fast, his attacks are strong, but he has no defense. He's a glass cannon. So yeah, the fire arrow one-shotting makes sense, it's consistent. Let me see if I could find the statement about the fire arrow. I don't remember what chapter that was. Because I think the narrator is the one that says like Sukuna couldn't use the fire arrow in his battle against Gojo because of the constantly switching conditions of his domain. So he was never able to build up enough dust to make the fire arrow lethal. I think it's 255. Is it 255? No, it is 258. Yeah, it's probably 258. Right here. Oh, next chapter. Right here. He can only open the furnace doors after preparing his ingredients, cleave and dismantle. Despite their absurd firepower, his flames within furnace lacked both speed and range. To amend this, Sukuna undertook another binding vow. Outside of his domain, furnace cannot be used on multiple opponents, so that's why he couldn't use it on like the gang, like the Jujutsu High. And the reason why he couldn't use it on Gojo, let's see if they say that. The binding vow enabled Sukuna to not only reduce all within malevolent shrines range to dust, but ensure that all resulting particles were matted in explosive curse energy akin to a furnace. On top of this, Sukuna deftly altered the functionality of the domain, one that allowed entry to blah blah blah. Oh, is it here where they say that? No, they don't say that. Oh, here, it's here. On top of constantly altering the necessary conditions for his barrier techniques, the repeated use of binding vows to alter his effective range meant that during his battle with Gojo, the furnace remained cooled, as Sukuna didn't have the freedom to unseal its flames. So this is basically confirming that because he didn't build up enough dust, it did not make sense to use the fire arrow. So yeah, there's also just that. And if he's fighting end of series Yuta, who has similar barrier capacities as like Gojo, not necessarily the exact same, but he's like on that level, then he also would not be able to use the fire arrow against Yuta. So yeah. Jogo also stood in front of Sukuna like an idiot. Yeah, true. He was like very close to him. Because we know that attacks in Jujutsu Kaisen, they lose power as they travel. That's why range isn't like infinite. It's not like a I mean it's like Kamehameha too, because Kamehameha loses power the further along it travels. For a single target, it's too slow. In the domain, it acts like a sure hit with Maharaga. Yeah. There's drop off. Exactly, there's drop off. There's I think that's pretty much all the points, because no one really brings up any other points. Let me see what they say here. One shot Ryu. Somebody says is more durable than Yuta. Again, we already went over this. That's not true. How is Yuta dealing with Shrine? Please answer this. Already answered. No one at the end of the series was over 10 finger Sukuna, let alone 15. Wait, how are people expecting Yuta to win against 15 Finger Sukuna? That's literally a hard to win match. They're really overestimating Yuta here. Sure, but hard to win doesn't mean impossible. Maki amped? How does Maki get amped? What? Maki can't amp herself. She's peaked. Like, the only thing what she can do is concentrate better, I guess. But it doesn't, I don't know, bro. This is nonsense. Couldn't even bring harm to Sukuna once they decided to just kill him. I don't think Yuta's doing anything. Yeah, sure, but that was Sukuna with one extra finger. And even then, Maki was clearly not locked in. And Yuji was trying to adjust to his new power. Oh, because that's something that people don't realize. They think Yuji had his awakening when he hit all the black flashes, which is what the narrator says. Which is true. That's when he has like his permanent awakening. But you go back to like 212 and stuff like that, you will see that Yuji already had his spiral eyes in those chapters, which is just like him adjusting to his newfound strength. Sukuna even at one point mentions that his strength is like insane. Because look here, his eyes already have the spiral, and this is before he hits the black flash. So the black flash might have been like the thing that solidified his awakening, but he could already partially tap into it at different points in time. And I believe it's even alluded to because as soon as Sukuna gets out of the bath, he notices a cut on his finger, which was inflicted by Yuji during that very same exchange. So yeah. Oh, that's what you said. Do you agree that Leroux did more in Shinjuku than Ino? Not really. I mean, what did he do? He brought Kusakabe to safety, and then Cutie Honey. M gave an opening for Miguel. But Ino was there from the beginning. He was like, he made a lot of openings for people too. I don't know, I think they're like similar in terms of contribution. I think they're similar, yeah. Yeah, he gave Yuji the opening for his chain of black flashes. He did. Would he have landed it anyway is the question though. Piercing blood. Barely scratches. One dismantle is enough to send him away. And he charges in for the black flash. And then he knows it's coming, just like Mahito did. And then he turns around. He has to turn around. But I'm wondering if like he knew it, if it was coming. Doesn't that already kind of give credence to the idea that it was gonna hit no matter what? If you can sense it? I don't know how that works. He wasn't worried about it. True, but he always underestimates Yuji. I feel like he doesn't really care to do much about Yuji's attacks until like the final chapters. Because that's when he's just like getting all angry and stuff that he's about to lose to Yuji. But let me show what I wanted to show. 213, is it 213? Oh, it's 214. Right here. Look at his eyes. His eyes are still normal here. They get small. He jumps upwards. And then he has no pupils. And right here, boom, what do we see? Spirals in his eyes. Yeah, so he was already tapping into Shrine at this point right here. This is where he unlocked Shrine. And then he's like going in and out of this state. Because here he has the spiral eyes again, just like Sukuna does. And like he has all this absurd strength. Sukuna blames it on Kenjaku. He has spiral eyes here still. And here his eyes shift back to the normal eyes. He gets hit. He doesn't have the concentration to keep it up. And then his eyes are back normal here again. And then boom, here he has the Shrine eyes again. Boom, Shrine. He has Shrine here. Look at his eyes. He has Shrine. Shrine. And then in the next chapter, I think he doesn't have them here anymore. And then Maki shows up and then his eyes go back to normal. He loses like the amp that he had from like all that rage. So yeah, I think this Yuji, like what I'm trying to say basically is that this Yuji with like the rage amp and like Shrine eyes is similar if not equal to Shinjuku Yuji. Like, well, he did also get stat buffs from Kusakabe swap training, but it's like the Shrine eyes Yuji is like closer to Shinjuku Yuji than it's like one might think. Let's see if he ever gets the eyes again. I don't think he does. Because when he has like the Shrine eyes, it should be equal to Awakened Yuji, which would explain why he has all that power all of a sudden. Yeah, he never gets the eyes back. But then after the bath, Sukuna, because he goes instantly to the bath. He goes to the Zenin clan hideout. Boom, he has a cut on his finger. He notices it right here. Cut. That's it. And then he heals it. It's never mentioned again. Bombaclaw Yuta slams. Brother, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Didn't you say that he loses? What's this? What's this? What's this, brother? What's this? 15 finger solos the verse? What's this? You trying to gaslight me, bro? You trying to gaslight me on Twitter? Or are you trying to gaslight me on stream? Huh? Huh? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Oh wait, I completely misread the title. That's funny. Okay, so tell me your opinion now that you've read the title properly. I thought this was Yuta versus Yuji. Alright, you're funny. You're funny, you're funny. You're funny, bro. Yuta wins this, bro. He beats 15 finger Sukuna. And it's high diff, but he still wins. There's no universe in which Sukuna doesn't sandbag, bro. I'd like to see where y'all's picks for Cross vs Enchanted Blade wielders. End of series Yuta, that's actually a debate I can't lie. Yes, bro, Yuta wins, dude. Don't piss me off, bro. All these people on Twitter, all these people on YouTube say, oh, this is the wrong video. All these people saying all this kind of nonsense, bro. Dude, Yuta wins this, bro. It's not even, well, it is close, but Yuta wins, bro. And I'm not talking about Grandpa Yuta. I'm talking about like 4 months after, like the last chapter Yuta. That's what I'm talking about. The only issue is he still gets one shot by Cleave. No. Dude, we went over this like actually like not even that long ago. So people seem to think that he gets one shot by Cleave because Ryu did, right? But there's a clear pattern in the series that Curse Energy output does not directly correspond to curse energy reserves, and curse energy output does also not directly correspond to your physicals, like your curse energy physical stats. None of those things directly correspond to each other. I gave like a pretty good amount of examples on the stream, but yeah, he says Yuta is Ryu in durability. Yeah, he does, but Cleave is an attack that adjusts to your curse energy reserves, right? And Yuta simply has more. Because otherwise, if that was the case, right? If that was the case, then Cleave, which was at 120% from the domain boost, should have insta-killed Gojo. But it just doesn't happen. Cleave is what adjusts to your curse energy. Cleave adjusts to your durability? No, I'm pretty sure it adjusts to curse energy. Let me go back to Shibuya where it said. I think it's 119? Yeah, 2 types of slashes. Cleave, which can be adjusted depending on the target's toughness and curse energy level to cut them down in one fell swoop. Yeah, so it adjusts to curse energy. Sure, it can also adjust to toughness, but there's like a hard cap on that. Clearly. Because otherwise it would one-shot literally everything and everyone, but it doesn't. I gotta close up the office. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Gotta do something Kaburachi soon. Yes, man. Thank you for coming to the stream, bro. And good luck with closing up the office. I hope nothing happens. Everything just happens well. See you, man. But I think people way misunderstand the Cleave explanation. Sukuna just manually adjusts Cleave's output to cut the opponent, but there's a limit, or else Gojo gets one shot. Exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. Dude, Yuta by proxy cannot get one shot by this. His reserves are too big. Oh, and remember 251 was not a what can I slash? Yeah. Dude, dude, and there are even examples of like people say Sukuna would speed blitz. I don't remember what I was saying earlier in the stream, but I gave like I felt like it was like a good reference point for why he wouldn't speed blitz unless he like locks in, which we know he doesn't do in character. Like he only needs to hold out for 15 minutes, because then Yuji's gonna wake up again. That's all. I mean, Yuta over Ryu in speed, so we can determine if he would get speed blitz. Really, exactly, bro. Exactly. There were I can't remember what I said earlier in the stream, bro. It was what did I say? I don't remember what it was. There was like a comparison with the other heavy hitters, and that like kind of showed that Yuta should not get like perception blitzed. Maybe speed blitzed, maybe not. Wait, perception blitzed in the same way that Ryu did? No. Absolutely not. In the series, Yuta definitely survives against Shibuya Sukuna, but beating him is a much tougher goal. Yeah, true. Because like this scenario is just like, what if end of series Yuta time traveled back to the Shibuya incident? Could he beat Sukuna? The answer is yeah, bro. Like, I don't think he's winning. I mean, I don't think Sukuna is winning. I don't know, man. I don't know. There were pretty, like a couple of good examples of things that I had. See if I could find them again to tell you. Otherwise, you might have to rewatch this. But the only argument for Sukuna is the cleave thing, which realistically is too vague to really conclude. Yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier in the stream that Yuta's biggest win con is Jacob's ladder, which Sukuna cannot dodge. People are like, oh, he'll dodge Jacob's ladder, bro. He'll dodge it. No, he won't. He never dodged it. Nobody in JJK is faster than Light. Nobody's faster. He's not dodging it. And it's like, it's not even like the size of like himself, bro. Jacob's ladder is the size of like an entire city block or like a district. It's huge. He's not dodging Jacob's ladder. Go back to the Jacob's ladder thing. I think that's 258. It's 258. Nope, I am dead wrong. 262. Is this it? Nope. 264. Yes. Okay. So Jacob's ladder is already launched here. He's already covered in the light. Wait, maybe 263 would be a better example to show. Right here at the end. Yeah. So total swaps here. He notices Hana is above in the sky. And boom. It gets launched. So while he's turning, the light is already around him. He's not dodging this, bro. And then the thing about Jacob's ladder is that normally Jacob's ladder only takes away your curse technique, right? It extinguishes curse techniques. But in Sukuna's case, because he is special, he is a cursed object incarnated into a human. The cursed object counts as a curse technique. Why? Because the cursed object has a curse technique engraved into like its consciousness or whatever. That's how like the curse techniques carry over. That's what one of the characters says. I don't remember who. But that's the reason why Jacob's ladder can strip a cursed object from its host. And if Jacob's ladder continues to do this, it will be the same effect as curse technique removal, like what the culling game barriers do, right? And so because of this, Sukuna also loses access to his cursed energy. He not only loses access to his cursed technique, but because his cursed object is now in a state to where it can't properly connect with his body, he has no cursed energy. So he cannot snipe her out of the air with like dismantles. And he cannot use his normal airwalk either. He has to make debris fly upwards, and then he has to physically scale the debris himself. He can't just do his airwalk. Because he also has no curse energy. And it's only until right here, when he jumps out of Jacob's ladder, that he gets his curse energy back, and then boom, you see like the curse energy welling around his hand. Black Slash. Bro, curse energy is, Jacob's ladder is such an insane win con against 15 Finger Sukuna. It's insane, bro. It's insane. It's actually insane. Jacob's ladder is massive. It just more focus in Yuta's domain, which is why people get confused. Exactly. And not only that, in Yuta's domain, he does it on and off. Right here, right here, right here. Boom. They're holding onto Sukuna. Jacob's ladder. You see all the babies and stuff in the sky? It's right here. The light is still around him. And then boom, the light disappears. He just flicks it on and off for like a mere second to give Yuji an opening to use his soul fissuring punch. He doesn't even keep the thing on him. Bro, if Yuta keeps it on him, Sukuna's like dead, bro. This is a win. This is a win for Yuta, bro. I don't care what nobody says. End of series, Yuta beats Sukuna. And they're like, yeah, but Sukuna's gonna win a domain clash. And I'm like, bro, it's not even gonna come to that. And even if it did, Jacob's ladder also beats domain expansions. Jacob's ladder beats domain expansions. Let me see if I could find the chapter where it's said. But is it like 201 maybe? Is it 201? No, it's 199 maybe. 99. Is this it? Let me look for it. looking. Look, we're looking for a player called the Angel. We heard they were in Tokyo Colony number 2. So, are you the Angel? Why did you help me? Why are you in Tokyo number 1? Then the Angel comes out. Don't ask so many questions. And then you know my curse technique. I negate curse techniques. This includes barrier techniques, including seals are no exception. So we can go in and out of barriers. So they literally burnt a hole through the culling game barriers. This means that if barrier techniques are no exception, Sukuna's domain expansion is not on the table, bro. He uses it, Yuta Jacobs ladders it, and it's gone. This is a loss for Sukuna, bro. I don't care what nobody says. It's a major loss. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna end the stream right here. I said all I needed to, really. Yeah, I said all I needed to. Nobody came out to debate. That's okay, because I pretty much tackled every single topic that other people were debating with me in like comment sections and stuff like that. And I read some other people's comments, and when other people were debating it, I went over their arguments too, and I think those are flawed. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. So thank you Alonzi for joining. Thank you Tigers for joining. Thank you Alphobi for joining. Oh, I can't see the rest of the chat anymore. Before can I scroll up? Thank you Shaquan Wiggins for joining. Thank you your boy Plank for joining. Thank you Omega Bladeworks for joining. And lastly, thank you again to Tigers for the donation. That is much appreciated, and I always love the support. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me.